So I wanted to talk a little bit about file structure, file organization. It's not the most interesting thing in the world, but it is extremely beneficial when it's used correctly. And with our team, it's made a huge difference as far as organization and project speed, and even looking back at old projects goes. So first off, it speeds up your own workflow. You know where things are, you're not trying to come up with some new organizational system every time. You're also keeping things organized for other team members. So they're looking at the same folder structure as you are. You're looking at their stuff and it's the same folder structure as yours. So it's much easier to find the state of a project if everything's already set up in this structure. You're also preparing you and your team for the future. I know we've had to go back a number of times and make small tweaks on projects. And with having this file structure, this folder structure in place, it makes it so much easier, so much faster. We just go to the archived project, look exactly where we need to look for the project file, make sure that our source files are there, which they 99% of the time are, and then make the edits and get that exported. So it saves a huge amount of time in the future as well. Plus, you don't have things saved all over the place. You're not looking at your downloads folder and your desktop and your external hard drive and your server. Everything's organized into one area. So also when you do archive your project, everything is archived into that one area. You don't have to worry about missing files, missing footage. It's all just there in that central location. So really quickly, I just wanted to go through the folder structure that we use. It's been great for us. Just wanted to get that out there in case it helps somebody else going forward. So we've got things organized into projects. So that's where our project files are for Premiere, After Effects, Audition, anything, basically any of the Adobe, or we also use DaVinci Resolve. So any of those would be in there. Our source can be anything from screen recordings to B-roll to A-roll, stock footage, the works. All that lives here in the source folder. Going down to the next one, we have our music folder. A lot of these are pretty straightforward. Music in the music folder, sound effects in the SFX folder, GFX for graphics. So that could be just static graphics, could be motion graphics, Mogerts, anything like that lives in there. We also have captions, pretty straightforward again. Audio, that you may have noticed that we have music, we have SFX, and we have audio. All these things divided into their own categories where they would all normally fall under audio. But the way that we've used things, it's just nice to have them all broken out already so you don't have to dive into a bunch of different folders, go down a bunch of levels when you need something it's going to be something that you use pretty commonly. Like if we have voiceover stuff that's going to live in audio. When we have our music soundtracks, even if it's just something that we're previewing, that would go in the music folder. So like I said, pretty straightforward, but it's just nice to have that broken up at a higher level as opposed to having to dig down every single time to get to the things that we need. So it's just nice having things broken up into those different folders, even though technically they are all audio. It's just nice to have them divided out that way. We also have exports, and we keep things organized in a way that we have our current exports. Once we have our current exports. Once we move on to another version, we take the old one and create a folder called previous, just drag and drop the old one in there. So we've had to occasionally go back to previous versions to pull something that the client ended up liking from the previous version, but they didn't realize until they saw the new version and just all that. It's just nice to have that backed up until the project's done. We have scripts, which are very helpful as far as editing goes, knowing what goes where, when you're trying to work through a whole, let's redo the script part. So we also have scripts, again, straightforward, that's where we keep our scripts. Just helps smooth things out and make things a lot more streamlined when we're working on things that have scripted content. And the last one is just thumbnails. Those ones are helpful when we're uploading to social media platforms and other things like that. So pretty straightforward, pretty simple, but you'd be surprised how much a good folder structure can help out your current processes and your processes in the future. So if you're not organized, it doesn't have to be like this, but get organized. You'll thank yourself later.